Do you struggle to get second dates with girls? Today, we gonna fix that. What is going on? My name is Dave and I put out new videos every single Friday to help you get the girls you want and the lifestyle you dream about. Now, a lot of guys come to me and say, Dave, I can't get second dates and I don't know why. This girl always seems super excited to see me after the first date. She's, even trying to make plans sometimes, and then she'll always end up flaking. I don't get it. What is going on? Well, there's a lot of reasons and subtle things that you might be doing that could prevent you from getting second dates consistently. Today, I'll show you what these reasons are and how to avoid them so you can get those second dates and make those great connections with girls. Let's get into it. Most guys go into their first dates with zero plan. They have no idea what they're going to do, and this really shows up in their conversations. Usually they end up getting stuck in small talk for the entire time. This makes it impossible to create a spark, so it's no wonder why she doesn't want to come out with you for a second date. What you need to do instead, and what so many guys fail to do, is to gradually escalate the conversation as you go about the date. So for example, at the start, you want to think of it as like the basic getting to know her question. So like, what do you do for work? Where are you from? What brought you to this city? What do you like to do for fun here? You're basically building a baseline understanding of her personality and who she is. Then you can get into some fun topics like what kind of music she likes to dance to, what she's passionate about, maybe like what type of food she likes to cook. And these are sort of a mix of like fun questions as well as qualifying questions. You're creating a fun vibe, but you're also sort of seeing if she might be a good fit for you, if you do have chemistry, and if you guys do share some of the same values. Like for me, if a girl doesn't work out consistently, she might be fun on that date. I might be open to having a good time, over like a month or two, but I'm not really gonna consider her as like a long-term fit. On the other hand, if a girl is super into fitness and she likes to cook and she's cool, well, I'm gonna be paying a lot of attention. After that, you can talk about topics like what types of adventures she's been on, maybe her biggest adventure. After that, you can get into some more fun, but topics that might even have like a sexual connotation to them, like what was her last biggest adventure? What does she find sexy in a guy? Maybe even what's one thing you wouldn't guess about her? As you gradually escalate these topics and questions, the date is always gonna feel like it's building towards something rather than stagnating. It's gonna seem a lot more fun. And she's gonna be buying in more and more throughout. You can use this as like a basic structure so you can game plan for your dates. You're not necessarily coming in and like asking all these questions back to back to back, but maybe you're asking a question, you're listening, you're relating back, and then you're coming back with another question and generally escalating it as you go. This will lead to much more successful first dates, which of course will greatly increase the likelihood of getting the second date. If you're not leading her and being that dominant type of guy that girls crave, then don't expect to get a second date. And unfortunately, a lot of guys are not that dominant guy. They don't even try to lead her. Matter of fact, a lot of guys actually miss cues and don't try to take risks, like making the move or trying to take her home. And hell, I used to be one of those guys. I can remember multiple times where I took a girl back to my place or went back to her place, and I was just sitting on the couch, just hanging out, waiting for the perfect time to go for the kiss or like bring her to the bedroom or something like that. Of course, like that perfect moment never really showed itself, so I never made the move. Even if I was there for like an hour or two, it would get super awkward, and of course, I would never see that girl again. Her opinion of me would go way down because she'd be like, wow, I had a good first date with this guy, and then when he brought me home, he didn't do anything. Like, he's not as confident as I thought he was. To avoid this, you should be consistently leading a girl throughout the day. So maybe you start by, let's say you're grabbing a drink at the bar, and maybe they have like a dartboard there at the bar. Maybe you have a drink, lead her over to the darts, and y'all throw darts for a little bit, have a conversation, and then maybe say, hey, after talking about like what her biggest adventure is, you'd be like, all right, let's get out of here, let's go adventure. And then you get out and be like, okay, cool, actually I live right down the street, let's hop over to my spot and you can show me some of those dance moves you told me about. So basically, you're consistently pushing things forward. And then if you get back to your place or hers on a date, you have to go for it. Obviously be respectful about it, and if she's not down or she says no, respect that choice, but you have to at least go for it. It's better to make a move and get denied than to never make a move and just have it fizzle out because she didn't think you were a confident guy after all. So when I say sometimes that guys are too eager to plan the next date, I mean like maybe you're going out, you're having a lot of fun, you really feel like you're connecting with the girl, and you're almost like giddy. You're like, oh look, I really want to see this girl again. Let's plan it right here and now. So maybe you try like figuring out her schedule, like, all right, by the way, like if today's Monday, like by the way, you free on Wednesday? We can go do like this, and this. And she might even seem excited about it in the moment when you try making that specific plan. But in the back of her mind, she knows that you're sort of ruining the mystery. You're letting her know that, hey, you're completely sold in her and you want to see her again right away. What's a lot better is to have general plans instead of specific plans. So maybe you guys are talking about like, favorite dishes that she likes to cook, and you can be like, oh yeah, we're gonna have to cook that at my place sometime. By leaving it open-ended, you show some interest, but you also don't just like completely let the cat out of the bag. The mystery stays alive and you assert yourself as the prize. Plus, you don't need to go over the top when it comes to like planning a bunch of dates right at first. It's actually better to just keep it to like once a week with the hangouts until you realize, hey, you actually really like this girl, and maybe it's like a month or so into it, then you can start gradually increasing it from like once to maybe twice a week. That way, again, it always feels like it's building instead of stagnating. So this one kind of builds on top of point number 3. You don't want to confess your feelings to a girl, especially after the first date. And I don't know why guys like doing this. I've definitely done it in the past, but I think it maybe comes from Hollywood, right? Like you're always taught in these movies and these shows that once the guy tells the girl he likes her, then it all just becomes this magical thing where the girl realizes it, she falls in love too, and they live happily ever after, right? But like most other things in Hollywood, that isn't really an accurate portrayal of how things really go down. Like I can remember one time after a first date, like my freshman or sophomore year of college, I thought the date went really well. We made out at the end of it, thought it was awesome. I was on cloud 9, went home, and I think like later that night, I told the girl just how much I liked her. Like, oh, like tonight was so much fun. I really think I'm starting to like you. She actually came back and said, oh yeah, like I had a lot of fun. I think I'm starting to like you too. And I thought I was golden, bro. I thought I was in there. But turns out like a day or two later, she was like, hey, like I thought about it. Like I'm not really looking for anything serious right now. And I think it's better if we're just friends. So I basically screwed everything up because I was too giddy and I wanted to confess her feelings. For what reason? There's really no reason to do it aside from looking for her validation. Just getting the validation that like, oh, she likes you too. But it's just gonna ruin it at the end of the day. Again, it's important to assert yourself as the prize. You want to be the one she's trying to win over, not the other way around. And when you just come out and tell her, hey, I like you, like this is awesome, all that type of stuff right up front, then again, the mystery is ruined. She no longer has to win you over. The excitement is gone for her. Again, keep your feelings in check, grow this thing out gradually, and your dating process that you have with girls is gonna go a lot smoother. Sometimes even if you do have a great first date with a girl and you do everything right, you can still screw it up after the date with a bad follow-up text. And I see this happen all the time. You see, the move is not to drop her like a super in-depth text like later that night or the next day telling her, about how much fun you had, how awesome the night was, and how like you're so excited to continue hanging out with her. Don't do that. You just set a good first date impression, so now it's time to follow up with that same type of mentality. All you have to do is drop a message the next day with a little bit of callback humor. So maybe something like, hey Jess, had fun last night. Hope you weren't too worn out for that work meeting. Or hey Allie, last night was a good time. Been thinking about breakfast tacos ever since. Now ideally, she gives a light response to this reply and you can basically just leave it at that for the next day or two. Then, a day or two after that, you can reach out and start trying to plan out the next date. By the way, some good second date ideas might be inviting her over for dinner at your place and you guys can like cook it together. It could be like doing something like going bowling. It could also be something simple like hitting the gym or going to a comedy show together. But yeah, basically you want to give her a couple options when it comes to the day. Like, by the way, are you free Tuesday or Thursday? We can cook up a fun dinner at my place. Remember, you don't need to be her texting buddy. Really, the point of texting is to set up dates and to get to see her again in person, not to drop like 10 texts a day and be that texting buddy. And by the way, when it comes to setting up the date, whether it's like the first, second, third date, you want to try to set it up within 2 to 3 days of sending the text. That's going to minimize the flake rate. Now, if you want some more help texting with girls, check out this playlist right here, and I will see you in the next video. Later.